Who knows how many classified messages may be buried in the 30,000 emails turned over by the Clinton camp? The investigation could focus the spotlight on one or more of Hillary's top aides and their access to Clinton's private email server. Joining me now from Washington, D.C., commentary writer at the Washington Examiner, Jason Russell. Jason, bring us up to speed on what's happening with this ongoing scandal.
Well, there's so much happening, it's hard to keep track of all of it. But a couple days ago, the FBI seized control of Hillary's private email server, and they found that it had already been wiped completely clean. What at first was good news was that the FBI was taking that server, but followed by bad news that it was completely wiped clean. So we have no idea what was on that, how many confidential emails were sent through that, or if it had already been hacked or compromised in any way. So that's just one step of the many steps that are going on in this unweaving scandal.
You know, on the plus side, that may be the one truth that Hillary's told. She told us that she had wiped the server clean. I found it fascinating during the course of this that Hillary Clinton has, number one, said that for her convenience, she only used one email address. And yet she also professed categorically that there was no top secret information on her server. Now, either she wasn't dealing in any type of top secret information as Secretary of State, which I find hard to believe, or she had to know if she was only using one address that she must have been conveying it. So bring us up to speed on what's happening with the top secret elements of her email server.
Well, look, it's very clear that she broke the law. At some point, she was sending top secret confidential information through her private unsecured email server. There are some guesses that there might have been removal of the top secret labels at some point during the process between the government and getting to Hillary. But still, that means somewhere along the line, somebody broke the law in removing those labels, whether that was Hillary or an aide or someone in between. We're not sure just yet. But either way, somebody under Hillary Clinton's management broke the law.
You know, when we talk about her aides, I think of Cheryl Mills, her chief of staff, and Huma Abedin, her deputy chief of staff. I do find it interesting that her chief of staff didn't have a private email account on that private server, but her deputy chief of staff did. But the other thing that's interesting is there's some controversy with respect to the way that they're treating, her aides are treating their emails. They've been subpoenaed as well, and they're turning over some of their emails. But Cheryl Mills is on record as saying that once she turned it over to her attorney, her plan was to wipe her server clean as well. Where do people come up with this type of an approach?
Well, it's clearly a casual disregard for the law, if you will. It's a completely just not once this scandal started, you would have thought that Hillary would have, gathered all the evidence and turned everything over so that evidence could just as well prove that she was innocent rather than guilty of wrongdoing. But instead, there's been slates wiped clean at every step along the way. We know now that in June is when she deleted everything from her server. This is well after this scandal started months ago. So it's clear that she's been trying to evade the law, trying to destroy all kinds of evidence as much as possible. It's just a casual disregard for all of the rule of law completely.
You know, there's recent release of information that her aides also may have misclassified some of the information. Give us a little more detail on that. Who exactly is being accused of having made those misclassifications?
It's not clear. It's just someone underneath Hillary in the State Department. It could have been anywhere, but surely they had access to high secret, top classified material, and they were not using those materials in the way that they're supposed to under the law. It's clear that at some point they removed the labels from top secret or classified information and Hillary ended up casually passing that around through her unsecured private email server. So it's quite possible that our state secrets about satellites and about other information was compromised by anyone, anywhere in the world.
Recently, Hillary's tried to defend this, from what I've heard, by coming out and saying that this is just a mere partisan attack. And it kind of makes me think back to the days of Monica Lewinsky when she wrote that off as a Republican conspiracy against her husband. What do you think will stick? I mean, it's difficult when you have somebody who said there's no secret information, and turns out there is, that she wasn't transmitting anything to anyone else, that she isn't holding anything back. All of these things are starting to unravel. What's her defense at this point?
Her defense is pretty weak. Her campaign has had some, frankly, lame attempts to justify her actions. First, they tried to say that the FBI was investigating her actions, not herself, which is kind of like saying, the police aren't investigating me, they're just investigating what happened when I broke into your house. The other campaign defense mechanism that they're trying is that they're trying to deflect and show that other people are doing this as well. They tried to say that Jeb Bush had a private email server, which is true, but Jeb Bush didn't have information of top secret nature on his defense server. And even when he, a couple of months ago, he released every single email from that server. So it's clear that her defenses and her attempts from her campaign to justify these actions are fairly pretty weak.
Well, I guess we'll just have to wait for the Chinese or the Russians to disclose what really transpired, because I'm sure they've hacked her server. Thank you, Jason.